Okay, this is amazing Toyin again. I am in my car, as you guys can see, um, and I'm recording again. And every time I get in my car, I get this inspiration to want to, record something or say something. Okay, so I'm more comfortable in my car. Well, even though I mean, this morning I already gave 2 interviews, which was on a conference call. But when I'm in my car, it's like, what else can I do? I'm driving with my 2 hands. My camera is right there, so I can just talk. So what do I want to talk about today? I'm writing a how-to book on foreclosures, okay? And it centers on how to stop foreclosure. And my premise is this, okay? Nobody should ever have to give up their house. Okay, in other words, you should never have to lose your house in a foreclosure. And the reason I say that is because it's happened to me before. Okay, and if you know what you're doing, rather than lose your house, you could fight. Okay, you fight until they have to drag you kicking and screaming out of the house, because you have invested money, equity, emotions, okay, into the house. So why should you allow somebody to take the house away from you? That's my belief, okay? And given what has happened in the last 5 to 6 years, the government has put in place all kinds of options, okay? Opportunities for you to keep your house if you really wanted to. So it still kind of surprises me why people allow the lender to take the house when the lender doesn't really want the house. And I'm saying it, the lender does not want your house. They just want you to make the payment or figure out a way with them, figure out something with them to where you can make the loan a performing loan again. When it's non-performing, the lender is actually feel terrible that they have to get the house back because that costs them money. So they would rather work out with you, okay, a process whereby you could start paying on the house. Okay, so the government put in place all kind of modification, home affordability program, rescheduling, equity. I mean, if you're upside down, they let you refinance. All kind of programs over the last 5 years that the Obama administration has put in place to help homeowners. But yet, thousands and actually millions of giving their home back to the lender. And I have to say that the reason this happened is because of ignorance. Okay, ignorance, misinformation, lack of trust, and fear. And I wrote a book on fear, okay, and I call it the F word. Okay, fear stops a lot of people from doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, the word fear, according to Napoleon Hill, or I think as defined by him, I think it was Napoleon Hill, who stated that our fears are traitors because they make us lose the good we often might win by failing to attempt. Right? What does that mean? Well, when you start getting behind in your loan, right, you were fearful of talking to your lender. You feel ashamed of letting anyone know, your neighbors, your friends, because you are worried that they will make fun of you, that you're behind. Well, they could care less. And if there's a neighbor or friend that could help you, the first thing you want to do is get on the phone and call them. I mean, one of my best friends, that I helped out of foreclosure, who gives me so much respect, she couldn't even begin to understand how I did it. But she was in foreclosure for almost 8 months. She went through a divorce, and all she knew is that she was like a few days away from having to give up her house when I showed up in the picture. Okay? And she was lucky enough to ask me, what do I do? And I said, I buy houses. And then she started telling me about her house in foreclosure and how husband or spouse, whatever, trying to screw her out of the house, how the lender wants to take the house. And I said, well, let me take a look. And I spoke to her, and I stopped the foreclosure for her. Okay? She was almost upside down. 8 months later, she sold the house and made another $80,000 on the house. Okay? Now, if she had given up the house, she would have made nothing. I mean, that's as simple as it is. So if your house is in foreclosure, even if you're behind on the house, okay, there is a way out. You just have to know how. And that's why you should not ever stick your head in the sand and not ever talk to your lender. I can understand why a lot of people don't talk to their lenders, because you feel like, well, you're behind. What do I tell them? Okay? And that's why it's always good to have a third party person talk to your lender on your behalf, because the third party is almost like a lawyer, even though they are not attorneys. Okay, the whole purpose of a lawyer is representation without emotions. Really, that's what a lawyer does. The lawyer goes in and represents your case without putting emotions in it. They look at the facts, okay, of the case, and then they defend the facts. And that's as simple as it. So a third party is able to defend or explain to your lender why you're behind, how you could make up the payment, how you could do a modification, how you can catch up on your payment. So don't ever stick your head in the sand, okay? And so, because it's happened to me, I was lucky that I knew what I was doing. I kept my foreclosure company away. At that time, it was, GMAC. I kept them away for 2 years. For 2 years, I didn't have to make payments. I mean, if you look at whatever your payment is, let's say your payment is $1,200 or $1,000 or $2,000, that's $24,000 I didn't have to come up with. It gives me the opportunity to have some peace of mind, because I knew what I was doing. I was able to hold them up, okay, prevent them from foreclosing, okay. They did file foreclosure. At that time, there was no such thing as, Obama HAFA or home affordability. I was talking like in the 90s, okay. Eventually I was able to use one of the defense mechanisms that I use for my clients, okay, to reschedule my note, get a second on the house, pay them off, and kept my house. I went on to sell the house and made over $100,000, okay. And that's why you need to keep your house, even if you're upside down, okay. Now, what can you do to stop foreclosures? Well, there are different types of foreclosures, okay, all across the country, and there are different timelines, okay, in which you have to give up your home, right? When your lender starts foreclosure, okay, usually it starts after a few months. Very seldom do lenders start foreclosure after the first month, second month, sometimes 3 months. In the last 5 years, some lenders don't start foreclosure for like 6-7 months, okay. And I have people that have been in their home for almost 5 years that haven't made payments. And so if you're listening to this, you'll be wondering, how did they do it? Okay, I just bought a property where the owner hasn't made payments since 2009. This is 2015. 2009 to 2015, that's like 7 years of not making any payment, right? Okay. Unfortunately for this owner, he left the house. Okay, he abandoned the house 7 years ago. The house was sitting vacant since 2009. And he's been paying rent someplace else. So imagine if he had stayed in that house, okay, and didn't pay rent, okay, for the last 6 years. That's almost what, even if you do a payment. I mean, and in his payment, you owed $400,000 on this house, 400 plus first and second. His payment was almost two grand. So that's $24,000 for 5 years. Okay, so I mean, $24,000 for 5 years. That's almost $100,000. I mean, that he could have saved, but he let it go. Okay, so eventually we bought the house. He made a little money, okay, And so what could have done? What could he have done? Well, he could have either worked with the lender, do one of those modifications, right? Okay, do a restructuring. Okay, he could have sold the house himself. Okay, and do equity share with an investor. When you do equity share, what it means is that you give up part of the future appreciation of the property. Okay, so if he's staying in this property and making payments, eventually a property that is upside down will come back and rise. Especially, I mean, it depends on what part of the country you live in. If you live in California, everything that goes down go back up. Okay, and in the last 5 years, that's been proven. Okay, a lot of California homes went down 30, 40, 50%. Now they're all back up. I know because I work in this business every day. Properties that I could have bought for $200,000 in 2009, they're now selling for $400,000. I mean, can you imagine how many millions I could have made if they had given me the money to buy them? I was trying to tell a lot of my partners, let's buy this property. Some of them were like, too scared to buy it. So, so with all these options, okay, and I haven't even talked about the Trump factor, the big word, the big B word, okay, that will stop any lender in their tracks. If everything does not work, okay, you always have the option of bankruptcy. Okay, now I don't really subscribe to a lot of people out there, including real estate agents, who tells you that, well, you should short sale your property because it's better for you. No, it's not. If you short sale your property, your credit is just still as bad as somebody who didn't. And so short sale should be the last option, okay? And you should always wonder what is in it for you. And if you can't get anything out of short sale, I wouldn't even advise you to do a short sale. Okay, you better stay in as long as possible, and then give the property back to the lender. Because in a short sale, the only person that wins is the agent. I mean, not that I have something against agents, okay? I'm a broker myself. I mean, but I would rather tell somebody, look, here are A, B, C, D ways for you to make more money than a short sale. Okay? Here are several options for you to make more money than a short sale. Here are several options for you to keep the house than a short sale. Okay? And I wouldn't even encourage deed in lieu either. Because with a deed in lieu, you don't get anything. And it doesn't help your credit one bit. Anytime you don't pay your loan as agreed, okay, your credit is shut. I mean, that's it. I mean, the moment you are behind, your credit is bad. Giving them a deed does not help your credit anywhere. Doing a short sale does not help your credit. Okay, so don't buy into those lies, because the only people that are telling those lies are those who wants to make money on you. Okay, so you should always figure out a way, okay, to get something back from your house, because it's your house. You invested in it. You have sweat equity. You probably put some money down when you bought it. You have emotional ties on this house. So any which way you could keep the house, you should look for it. And if you call somebody like me, okay, I will figure out a way. I mean, I've bought over 400 properties, okay. I have been doing foreclosure defense for almost 15 years, where I actually help people avoid foreclosure, prevent foreclosure, and fight against foreclosure. Okay, I stand up to the lenders. Okay, because I know one fact that most people don't know. The lender does not want your property. They just want to be paid. They just want you to start performing on the loan. Even if you're behind 3 years, they will work with you. I mean, I've had people that are behind 2 years and we're still able to do modification, and they kept the house. The problem I have is that I see, for example, I recently encountered an 80-year-old woman who is on disability, has no money, and when we tried to help her, she told us that, well, she had this, she's got an agent who's working with a lender, who's trying to do a short sale for her, and we tried to explain to her, if your agent is trying to do a short sale, why is the lender filing foreclosure? Because if they're filing foreclosure, what they're telling you is that you've exhausted all your rights. So if you don't know how to handle the lender from then on, they are going to foreclose. Unfortunately, this lady didn't listen to us. And so the lender went up foreclosing. They took the property back. And now, after getting 3-day notice to get out of the house, she called us. Okay? It was too late for her to get back the house, but I was still able to advise her on how to, buy some more time so that she can gradually, comfortably move to another place. Okay? That's why I founded this company called U.S. Homeowners Advocacy Council. What does U.S. Homeowners Advocacy Council does? We advocate for homeowners. Okay? Because I believe that no one should ever have to lose their home. No one. Okay? That's why the government puts in all these mechanisms, okay, including the nuclear option, which is bankruptcy. Okay? And what bankruptcy allows you to do is to reorganize, okay, stop the lender or any creditor in their tracks, okay, from having to pressure you as far as any debt is concerned. So I look at bankruptcy as a renewal option that the government puts in place to renew the economy, not just you. Because if you are not productive for the economy, it affects the government. If you're not productive, you can't pay taxes. If your property is not productive, you can't pay taxes on it. So they allow the bankruptcy option so that you could renew yourself, discharge all your debt, okay, including the debt you have on the house, so you could start over again, okay? And so, but some people think, well, just because I filed bankruptcy, I have to give up the house. No, you don't, okay? Bankruptcy does not mean you have to give up the house, okay? And I used to advise people on how to file bankruptcy and keep everything they own, okay? You keep your house, you keep your car, you keep your furniture, everything, because the bankruptcy law gives you the opportunity to do that if you know what you're doing, okay? So when you file bankruptcy, it allows you to stop the lender. It allows you to go back and renegotiate, okay, either with a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 reorganization, okay? So given all these options, okay, if you don't know what to do, just log on to my website, www.ushomeownersadvocacycouncil.com, and click on all the options you have, okay? With those options, you could either send us, email, call us direct, and tell us what your situation is, and we'll look at all your options. We don't have to buy your house. You don't have to give up your house, okay? If I can help you, I will be glad to help you, because I don't necessarily have to buy your house. There's a lot of houses out there that are not in foreclosure that I could buy. I mean, foreclosed properties are just a small portion, and I only buy foreclosed houses when the owner has exhausted all their options and there's no way out, right? Okay, so if you're in foreclosure, always look at your options, okay? Know that you do have the options, and let's work it together, okay? And so with that, I'm going to say, bye. Hope you gain something from this video. If you don't gain anything and you want to have more questions, please put your questions below, put your comments below, okay? And let's discuss it. Maybe there's other things that you might think of that I haven't thought about, okay? And let's work it out, all right? So good luck if you're in foreclosure. If you're not in foreclosure, don't get into foreclosure. And if you do get into foreclosure, there are options and there are alternatives. Thank you very much. All right, this is Amazing Toyin. I'm the founder of GICdealfinders.info, where I pay people to find me properties that nobody wants, abandoned properties. And I'm also the founder of The Magic of Real Estate, where I teach ordinary folks to make extraordinary income using real estate as a vehicle. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later, and bye.